One day, he withdrew a large sum of money from the account, 8 million naira. And when she politely asked him what the large withdrawal was for, his eyes darkened immediately. So now you're monitoring me. You're questioning my decisions as a man in this house. You think because you earn money, you are now my boss. Well, I made a down payment for a new car. Ifunaya's head blew. You did what? That was my salary for 4 months, Michael. And so, he fired back. Ifunaya was a stunning woman in her early 30s. Not just in appearance, but in every sense of the word. She had the kind of beauty that turned heads, but it was her intelligence, drive, and determination that truly made her stand out. A woman of purpose, Ifunaya had worked tirelessly over the years, and her efforts had paid off handsomely. She now held the prestigious position of General Branch Manager at the Nigerian chapter of Elna Groups, a respected Swiss company known for manufacturing a wide range of high-end machines and household gadgets. For many, she was a perfect example of grace, grit, and achievement. But behind her strong exterior was a heart that was wrapped around a single man, Michael. They had been together for nearly 10 years. He was the love of her life, her first and only, the man she had given her heart to when they were both still students, full of dreams and plans for the future. He had even proposed to her 5 years ago, a modest but emotional moment that she had embraced with joy, not caring that they were both still finding their feet. Of course, she agreed, said yes, without hesitation, even though he was between jobs at the time. Love, she believed, was worth the wait. And wait, she did. She waited and waited. Year after year rolled by, and the proposal just remained like that, a ring on her finger with no wedding date in sight. Her friends began to tease her mercilessly. They called her the Lord of the Rings, and not without reason. Her best friend Amara, who was already married with 2 beautiful kids, constantly warned her, "Ifunaya, this man is not serious. You've waited long enough. Move on with your life." But Ifunaya, that was easier said than done. Move on to where? She would argue. I've given Michael 10 whole years of my life. Do you know how many sacrifices I've made? I've terminated 4 pregnancies in those years. And you expect me to leave him now? To start dating again? Go back to talking stage and answering what's your favorite color? I beg go. A bird at hand is better than 1,000 in the bush. And so they let her be. Her family, on the other hand, grew more and more concerned with each passing year. This boy that put a ring on your finger, her mother would often ask, are you sure he means well? Is he even serious about marrying you? They couldn't make sense of the delay. How could a man propose and still be all ready to marry, even after 5 years? Eventually, even Ifunaya's patience began to wear thin. She was getting older, and the future she had imagined, a husband, children, a family, still seemed like a distant dream. Tired of waiting, she decided to take the bull by the horn. She began to press Michael more seriously. It was time to move forward. But every time she brought it up, he repeated the same excuse. It's not time yet, Ifo. I'm still trying to build my business. I need to be financially stable before I get married. Yet, this was the same business she had been funding from day one, pouring millions of naira into. Whenever he faced setbacks, she was the one to bail him out. And even though she was now earning far more than him, she kept investing in him, hoping that one day it would all pay off. But that day seemed not to be coming. When it became clear that Michael would never be financially ready, and the pressure from within and outside grew too heavy, Ifaya decided to do the unthinkable. She decided to fund the wedding herself. Without telling her friends or her family, from the hall bookings to the catering to the traditional list, down to even the suits Michael would wear on the big day, she paid for everything, and he agreed with no protest. That was how the wedding preparations began, fully sponsored by the bride. Marriage had always been a big deal for Ifaya. She did not just love the idea, she craved it with her whole heart. From as far back as she could remember, it had been her ultimate dream. As a little girl, while others played with dolls or chased butterflies, Ifaya was busy imagining her perfect wedding day. She saw it all so clearly in her mind. The glittering white lace, sparkling jewelry, rows of flowers, the mouth-watering dishes, sweet music. Oh, everything appealed to her. Maybe the obsession came from growing up in a loving home, watching the way her parents smiled at each other and held hands even after many years. Or perhaps it was from the many weddings she had attended as a child, always playing the role of the flower girl or little bride, tossing petals in the air with a shy smile, secretly wondering when her own day would come. Now, that day had finally arrived. She was dressed in the most breathtaking white gown she had ever worn. Her makeup was perfect. Flawless skin, highlighted cheekbones, lips painted in a soft, elegant shade. Her hair had been styled beautifully, and the diamond earrings she wore shimmered softly in the light. Everything was perfect, at least on the outside. But inside her chest, her heart was doing backflips. She sat alone in her hotel suite, staring at her reflection in the mirror, but barely seeing it. Her fingers twisted nervously. She couldn't shake the strange feeling in her chest, a tightness that's like something wasn't quite right. Am I doing the right thing? She asked herself for the 100th time. This was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. So why did she feel like she wanted to disappear? Just then the door opened and her mother walked in, already dressed in her elegant coral lace, her face glowing with pride and excitement. But her smile faded the moment she saw her daughter's expression. What's going on, Ifaya? Why aren't you ready? We are running late. And what with this mood? Her mother asked, her tone laced with concern. Ifaya let out a sigh of relief. Oh mother, thank God you are here, she exclaimed, her voice shaky. Her mask of strength crumbled and all the worry she had been hiding came out. Her mother's brows furrowed. Did something happen? Ifaya shook her head slowly. No, nothing happened. It's just, I don't understand how I feel. I should be excited, but instead I feel scared. What if I'm making a huge mistake? What if things don't go as planned? What if this marriage is nothing like yours and daddy's? What if I'm not cut out to be someone's wife? What if I don't make a good wife or a good mother? Her mother stepped closer and took her in her arm. Stop with the what ifs, Ifaya. I understand exactly how you feel. This is called pre-wedding jitters. It's normal. You're about to make one of the biggest decisions of your life, and it's okay to feel nervous. She smiled, rubbing her daughter's arms in a reassuring gesture. But listen, my dear, don't expect your marriage to be exactly like mine and your father's. You are not me, and Michael is not your father. Every marriage has its own journey, its own rhythm. There is no such thing as a perfect marriage. Only two people who are intentional, who are committed to loving, respecting and growing with each other every day. Ifaya nodded slowly, tears brimming in her eyes. Her mother continued softly, and as for whether you will make a good wife, well, I believe I was a pretty good role model. I raised you with everything I knew. I trust that I've been able to teach you enough. You'll be fine. A soft smile finally returned to Ifunaya's face. She blinked back the tears and reached for her mother, pulling her into a warm hug. Thank you, Mama, she whispered. I feel better now. Her mother held her close. Now go out there and enjoy your big day. You've waited long enough for it. Meanwhile, in another hotel room, just a few doors away, Michael was seated stiffly in front of a mirror, his wedding suit half-buttoned, his tie hanging loosely around his neck. His eyes looked tired, not from lack of sleep, but from the thoughts that weighed him down. Just like Ifaya, he too was feeling uncertain, not about her, but about himself. Was he truly ready for marriage? Could he carry the weight of being a husband, a provider, a leader in a home where his wife was clearly more successful than him? He was still lost in thought when his father, Chief Oludare, walked in, wearing his starched agbada and that usual expression that carried a mixture of pride and sharp-edged authority. Without wasting time, the older man began to give him his own special lecture, his special regimen that has helped him in his own marriage. Listen, my son, he began. You see that girl you are marrying? You know she's rich, very rich. And you need to be careful. If you allow her to do as she pleases, that money will get into her head and turn her into someone else. These modern women, once they taste independence, they become arrogant. You see them, their shoulders begin to spread. You need to put her in a place from the beginning. Clip those wings before they spread too wide. Let her know that you are the man of the house. Michael frowned slightly, shifting in his seat. But Dad, Ifaya is not like that. She's the most humble woman I know. She has never once used money to look down on me. Chief Oludare waved his hand dismissively. Oh, come of it. You think I don't know what's going on? I know that this whole wedding was planned and sponsored by her. Everything. See, let me tell you, one day she will remind you. Maybe not in words, but her attitude will tell you. Michael did not respond. He looked down, fiddling with his cufflinks. But the truth of his father's words began to sink in bit by bit. See, you must take charge now. You must take charge. If you are smart enough, you will control her money, her finances. Let no money pass through her hands without your say-so. In fact, insist on a joint account. That way, you will know how much she earns and how much she spends. You see all those friends of hers who are still single, cut them off one by one. They will only fill her head with nonsense ideas like equality and independence. Put her on a leash before she starts dragging you behind her. Michael looked up alarmed. Daddy, is that not too hard? What if she gets tired of all this and leaves? Come on, leave to where? Hey, a woman that has crossed 30. You think she wants to start dating again in this Lagos? She won't go anywhere, trust me. How do you think I managed your mother? That's how I managed her for all these years. See, she was fire when I met her. But look at her now. Calm like a dove. Michael began to smile, the doubt in his heart slowly being replaced by a dangerous sense of assurance. So, Dad, you are saying I can make this work as long as I'm in control. Not just control, my boy. If you are smart, you will squeeze her dry bit by bit. Invest in yourself, Invest in yourself. Make sure you build something solid in your name. Even if it is with her money, that one is not a problem. So that if things go south, you will know that you've already set up yourself for life. That part hit Michael like thunder in his chest. It made so much sense. Suddenly, everything became clear. The doubts, the guilt, the fear, it all faded. He stood up, adjusted his necktie confidently, and checked his reflection in the mirror. The man who stared back at him was no longer unsure. He smiled, now ready and excited to start a new chapter with his longtime partner. He was now ready to become the man of the house. The wedding was everything Ifaya had dreamed of. The hall sparkled with lights. The decor was elegant and the music flowed like a river. Guests were well fed, drinks were in abundance, everyone was merry, they all danced and cheered for the new couple. In fact, for Ifaya, it truly was the happiest day of her life. She felt like a queen beside her king, floating on a cloud 9. Her cheeks hot from smiling, her heart was full. And as she waved goodbye to their guests, she silently whispered, "Thank you to God for finally making her dream come true." She was now a Mrs. And the best part was that he was the love of her life. But dreams are not always what they seem, and Ifaya was about to find out just how quickly a fairy tale could twist into something else entirely. By the time they got back home that night, their newly rented apartments in a quiet estate, both of them were drained. The makeup had melted off her face, her heels were off, and she was practically walking on barefoot into her new life. Michael looked no better. The suit had been flung over a chair, his tie undone, and his eyes filled with fatigue. They were both tired, but at the same time, they were hungry. They hadn't had the real meal all day, just a bit of small chops here and there, a piece of cake, and a few sips of champagne. Their stomachs had been too anxious earlier, but now, reality had settled in. They were starving. With a small smile, Ifaya went into the kitchen, opened one of the coolers her mother had packed, and brought out a steaming batch of party-style jollof rice, with grilled chicken, moi moi, and fried plantains. It was still hot, wrapped carefully. She dished it into 2 plates, humming quietly as she placed the plates on the table. But Michael was not pleased. "Babe, what's this now? You expect me to eat food from the party?" he asked, looking at the plate like it was an insult. "Jollof rice now," she answered playfully, trying to keep the mood light. "My mom made it specially for us. She said we'd be tired to cook or eat anything proper tonight. Isn't that sweet of her?" Michael did not smile. "Wait. So we just got married and the first meal I'm eating in my own home as a married man is food your mother cooked? Is that how we are going to start this marriage?" Ifunaya's smile faded. "It's not that deep now. I'm just really tired and I know you are tired too. This food is even better than what they served at the wedding and I honestly thought you'd like it." "So, what happens next?" he continued, cutting in sharply. "She'll come every weekend to cook for us or stay over and start running this place. Look, I don't like interference, so I married you, not your mother. You are my wife now and I expect you to cook for me every single day. I don't joke with my stomach, you hear me?" Ifunaya stared at him, stunned. "Michael, we just got married today. I was on my feet for hours, dancing and just being happy. I haven't even taken off this makeup yet. Were you really expecting me to cook tonight?" "Oh, okay," Michael cut in sharply. "So cooking is now a punishment? You think being tired is an excuse, eh?" There was a long pause. The excitement of the day began to fade, replaced by something else. Ifunaya was sorely disappointed. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. But still, being the peacemaker, she took in a deep breath, looked at him and smiled gently. "Let's not fight tonight. Let's manage and eat this one and rest. Tomorrow, I promise, I'll make something fresh and delicious for you. Is that okay?" He didn't respond, but he sat down. She joined him and they ate in silence. After the meal, they dragged their tired bodies to the bedroom. No romantic honeymoon night, no sweet cuddles. Just 2 really exhausted people lying beside each other in bed that already felt a little colder than it should. As Ifunaya lay there staring at the ceiling, a small thought crept into her heart. Maybe this wasn't going to be as easy as she thought. The next day was Sunday. They woke up early, got ready for their marriage Thanksgiving in church. As soon as the service was over, on their way home, Ifunaya suggested they stopped at their favorite eatery to eat something before they went home since they were both hungry. Michael flared up again. "Meaning what? We should go eat in a restaurant? For what? What happened to your hands?" Ifunaya blinked. She hadn't expected the reaction. "Babe, calm down. What's with the tone? I only suggested it because the foodstuff I ordered hasn't arrived yet. And even if I'm going to cook, which I will as soon as it comes, we still need to eat now. It's past 1 p.m. and we haven't even had breakfast." She thought she was making sense, but Michael only looked more upset. "Wait, you ordered food items? With whose permission?" She stared at him confused. "I don't understand. Permission?" "Yes. With whose permission did you stock the house? And why didn't you go to the market like a proper wife?" Ifunaya let out a slow breath, trying to stay calm. "I had no idea I needed to take permission to buy groceries. I thought I was being responsible, and I've been very busy with work and the wedding preparations. Tomorrow is Monday, and I have to be at the office early. Ordering online was just faster and easier. But Michael was not having it. So, because you think you have money, now you want to make me look useless, Abi? Let this be the last time you make any decision in this house without asking me first. See, I'm the man of this house. You need to respect that. How much did you even spend, Seth? Ifunaya's voice went low. 350,000 naira, she replied. Michael paused, rubbing the back of his neck. Okay, I'll give you back next week, he mumbled. Surprisingly, he still drove them to the restaurant without another word. But he couldn't even touch his food properly. His mind was busy thinking of how to raise 350,000 naira. Well, life continues. The next morning was Monday. Monday came very fast. It was Ifunaya's first day back at work, and she had an important presentation lined up. She dressed smartly, packed up her work files, ready to take on the day. But just as she picked up her car keys, Michael stood in front of her. "I'm going with the car today," he said plainly. She looked at him confused. "The car? I have a meeting today by 10 a.m. I need to be at the branch early. Can't you take the cab or a ride?" Hey, a whole man taking cab while his wife drives a big car, he snapped. "No way. You will stay home today or find another way to go to work. I am taking the car." Ifunaya was stunned. "Babe, this is my car. I don't mean to sound proud, but this car is important for my job. I need to be mobile to attend meetings and supervise field work. You need to understand." After the back and forth, she angrily took her keys and drove out. But when she returned, Michael locked her outside. "Go and sleep in your car," he said angrily. When she begged to let her in, he stepped out. "You think you are stubborn, Abi? I will teach you to respect your husband today." "Please stop this," she pleaded. "I've had a long day and I'm tired." But Michael didn't budge. "You think I don't know what's going on, eh? Since you have a car and a job now, you are forming independence. Let me tell you, as far as I'm concerned, you will not step your foot inside this house unless you hand the keys over to me." Ifunaya stood there, stunned. "But I need that car to work, babe. Try to understand. I'm managing a whole branch. Sometimes there are emergencies. Sometimes I need to just meet clients or travel or fulfill the assignments." But Michael just coughed. "That's your business. If you are not ready to submit and recognize me as your head, then you are not ready to have any privilege in this house. And if you keep showing this stubbornness, I will have to stop you from working altogether." Ifunaya could feel herself shaking. She was shocked, frustrated, helpless. Her chest felt tight. Her palms were sweating. She knew exactly where this was headed. And so, for peace to reign, she handed over the car keys without another word. Michael collected them triumphantly and walked out like he had just won a battle. Later that night, she called her closest friend, Amara. She just needed someone to talk to, someone who would listen to her and perhaps give her a few tips. And since her friend had started this marriage thing before her, she felt that she would be the one person who would be able to understand and not judge her. Amara, I don't even know where to begin, she said, tears in her voice. This man, it's like I don't know him anymore. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I can't even make simple decisions without it turning into a fight. Unknown to her, Michael had been listening by the door. He barged into the room. So, this is how you go about gossiping about me. Didn't I tell you that that girl is a bad influence? From the first day I knew her, I knew she would be a bad influence. See, from today, you are not to speak to her again. In fact, I don't want to see you mingling with any of your old friends, especially those ones that are still single. They will ruin our marriage. Ifaya swiped her face slowly and looked at him. She wondered if he had any idea what he was doing. Or maybe he did. She did not speak. She just lay back in bed, eyes wide open, wondering how a life she had prayed for had turned into a silent prison. And it was only day 3 of her marriage. Days turned into weeks, and Ifaya started to become really upset about the way things were going. But Michael was not done yet. The one that upset her the most was that he had insisted that as a married man, he could not eat stale food. Ifaya looked at him surprised that day. Fresh food every day? Michael, you know the kind of job I do. I leave early and sometimes I come back home by 8 or 9 p.m. That's why I batch cook over the weekend, so there's always food in the house. It's the only way to manage both work and home properly. Michael scoffed loudly. This your job. It's just giving you excuses to be lazy. I swear. His words stung. Still, she tried to explain. I'm not lazy, Michael, and you know it. I'm trying to manage my time wisely. You know how Lagos traffic can be. What if I get home too late to cook? Will you sleep hungry? Then quit the job, he snapped. If it's stopping you from doing your duty as a wife, then resign. What do you need the job for anyway? Ifaya couldn't believe her ears. She had worked hard to get to her position, sacrificed so much, and now just because Michael felt he needed attention, she was supposed to quit and throw it all away. They argued for hours, voices raised, emotions raw. But in the end, like many times before, she found herself apologizing. She did not want to fight. She just wanted peace. That same night, as they lay in bed, in silence, Michael suddenly tapped her awake. She got up. Babe, I've been thinking, he said softly. I think we should open a joint account. It will help us grow better as a couple. Everything we own together, right? Ifaya was unsure of what to say. I don't think that's necessary. I believe in transparency, yes, but can't we just have separate accounts and still support each other? Why? He snapped. Unless you're hiding something. Are you trying to be secretive with money in a marriage? Look, this is for the good of our family. We can't build together if you're hiding things. She did not want to agree, but he was already on a long speech about unity, loyalty, trust, obedience, blah blah blah. In the end, she gave in, just to avoid another fight. By the next morning, the joint account was created, and her salary was redirected into it. Before long, Michael started spending recklessly. He was withdrawing money without informing her, buying things, gadgets, going out with friends. Things that had nothing to do with family needs. She just kept receiving debit alerts. One day, he withdrew a large sum of money from the account, 8 million naira. And when she politely asked him what the large withdrawal was for, his eyes darkened immediately. So now you're monitoring me. You're questioning my decisions as a man in this house. You think because you earn money, you are now my boss. Well, I made a down payment for a new car. Ifunaya's head blew. You did what? That was my salary for 4 months, Michael. And so, he fired back. She backed off immediately, heart pounding. Again, she swallowed it. She said nothing more, but deep down, something inside her had cracked. She was boiling. Ifunaya became quiet. She became withdrawn. She was always lost in thought, barely smiling. Her joy was gone. Her co-workers even noticed. During meetings, her eyes would wander. She would forget details, miss deadlines, things that had never happened before. The ones who were close enough tried to ask, but her response was always the classic nothing. She found herself constantly thinking of ways to fix her marriage. Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe he just needs something to be excited about, something to give him hope, direction, focus. That was when the idea came. Maybe if I get pregnant, things will get better. She whispered to herself. Maybe a child will soften him, give us something to bond over. So she brought the idea up during dinner, and to her surprise, Michael was overjoyed. It was the first time he had smiled genuinely since their wedding. Yes, babe, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And so they started trying for a baby. Days turned into weeks. Months passed, but nothing happened. No pregnancy, no sign of a baby. Eventually, when they got tired of trying, they went for fertility tests. When the results came in, it showed that Michael had a low sperm count. He was shocked. But I've gotten her pregnant before now, more than once. The doctor, who happened to be an old friend of his, explained gently, these things can happen over time, Mike. Age, stress, lifestyle, anything can trigger it. There and then, Michael made the doctor an offer to pay him 300,000 naira to manipulate the results and make it look like his wife had become less fertile due to her age. The doctor was taken aback. Why don't you just treat this thing instead of having to deceive your wife? He suggested. But Michael was not having it. I beg, choose. Run this thing for me now. I should tell her that I have low sperm count so that she will see me as less of a man. And I go treat him. But for now, do as I say. She is my wife. Run am. And so the doctor obliged and took the money. The news shattered Ifunaya more than anything else. She cried for days. And Michael was there to console her. Calm down, my love. He said. It's not something to cry about. The doctor did not say that you cannot get pregnant. He was only saying that it would be difficult because you are getting old. Ifunaya burst into a fresh wave of tears. You think I'm old? No. I did not say that. The doctor said, but look on the bright side. See how I'm choosing to stand by you. You know, if it were some men, they will start looking for one fresh young girl to bear children for them. But I'm not like that. He talked with so much calm and emotion that even Ifaya stared at him, speechless. That night, she made up her mind that she would not let herself be discouraged. She would keep trying, praying, and trusting God. She believed deep in her spirit that she would carry her child. As months passed, nothing happened still. But she did not let it bother her. She focused on her work and even learned to ignore Michael when he got started. Michael started to worry. He felt he was losing his grip on her, and so he decided to up his game. He secretly got pills from this same doctor friend, and at every opportunity he got, he would slip one tablet into her tea, coffee, or juice. The pill was intended to make her always fuzzy and tired. That was one of its side effects. Within a few days, the results started to show. Ifaya started feeling unusually tired. She would sleep long hours and still wake up drained. She had constant headaches. Her body felt heavy and she could barely concentrate at work. Sometimes she would stare at her laptop for minutes without knowing what she was doing. At first, she blamed it on stress, maybe the pressure from work or the pressure from home, she thought. But after 2 weeks, it got worse. She was always drowsy. Her eyes were dull. She had no appetite. Something did not feel right. Even her superiors in the office started complaining bitterly. She was lagging behind so much in the office. And voila, Michael to the rescue. He started taking her to the hospital weekly. In fact, he made it his job to take her to the hospital weekly. And she became solely dependent on him. The same hospital owned by his friend. And there, they extorted exorbitant fees from her, all in the name of running tests that always showed nothing. She became a shadow of herself. The smart, cheerful, confident woman she once was had faded. Now she walked slowly, hardly smiled, and barely made sense when she spoke. Her clothes hung loosely on her body because she had lost so much weight, and her face looked pale and lifeless. Whether it was the pills or the pain of what she was going through, or both, I can't even say at this point, but it is clear that she was no longer okay. Then, one morning, something terrible happened. She had just come downstairs trying to prepare for work. As usual, she was dizzy, her head spinning. But she pushed herself forward, one step at a time. Halfway down the staircase, her vision went black. And before she could cry out or hold on to something, her legs gave way and she collapsed at the foot of the stairs. Michael heard a loud crash from the living room. He rushed out and saw Ifaya lying at the foot of the staircase, unmoving. "Jesus, Ifaya!" he screamed, running to her side. He picked her up and rushed her to the hospital. Dr. Chooks sprang into action immediately. After examining her and running a few quick tests, his face grew tense. The pills are too much for her, Michael. The pills are too much in her system. If we don't act fast, it could damage her organs. He quickly began treatment to flush out the drugs from her bloodstream, and after a while, her system was clean, but she was still unconscious, lying there on the examination bed in the doctor's office. Michael paced around, worried. How long will she be like this? He asked. Chooks sighed, shaking his head. I really can't say, Michael. Everyone reacts differently. But you need to stop giving her those pills. I don't know what you're trying to prove, but this could destroy her completely. Then he added, and she's pregnant. Michael's eyes widened. What? How? You said my sperm count was low. How can she be pregnant? I really don't know, Chooks replied, but the tests don't lie. You are going to be a father. Congratulations. Michael looked confused. Then his face hardened. What if the baby is not mine? What if she somehow found out the truth? You have to terminate the pregnancy. What? Chooks shouted. Why would you do that? See, I'm just playing safe, Michael replied coldly. If I'm truly the one that got her pregnant, then that means I'm fine now. Another baby will come. We'll have another one. She will get pregnant again. Chooks stared at him in disbelief. You're heartless and unbelievable. I won't be a part of this. I beg ye, Michael said casually. Is it worse than what you've already done? Just name your price, I'll pay. What they did not know was that Ifaya had woken up earlier and heard everything they had said from the beginning till the end. She slowly sat up, her hands shaking, her face dark with anger. So this is what the both of you have been doing behind my back, she said quietly, her voice trembling. Michael, how could you? What did I ever do to deserve this? And to make matters worse, you wanted to kill my baby with my own money. You are wicked. Both Michael and Chooks were stunned. Before they could stop her, Ifaya jumped down from the bed and ran out of the room. She didn't wait for her bag, her phone, or even her shoes, nothing. She flagged down a cab and told the driver to take her to her parents' house. She knew that at that point, those men were dangerous. They could do anything to her to conceal what she had just heard. So fleeing was the best option she had. When her mother opened the door and saw her, she gasped. Ifaya, what happened to you? In tears, Ifaya told her parents everything, all that Michael had done to her, all that she had gone through from the first night of her marriage till that day. Her father's face turned red with anger. He was boiling. I will deal with that boy, he shouted. He thinks he can treat my daughter like this and go free? Ah, he will know who I am by the time I am done with him. Michael, on the other hand, was in panic. He had tried to reach Ifaya incessantly, but he soon discovered that her phone was in the house, so he gave up. He knew this could be the end for him. He knew it would end very, very badly. He remembered his father's words. So this is what my father meant when he said, if things go south. That night, he packed his things, transferred all the money from the joint account into his private account. He wanted to just disappear quietly. But just as he stepped out of his compound with his bags, he looked up and saw that the police officers had surrounded the building. On your knees, one of them shouted, pointing a gun at him. Michael froze. He looked to the right and saw Ifaya standing there beside her father. Tears filled his eyes. Baby, you called the police on me. It's me, oh. Remember all the love we shared, he begged. Ifaya glared at him. You never loved me. You are heartless. You are wicked, and you will pay for all the pain that you've caused me. And so you know, this marriage is over. Please, baby, he cried. Don't do this. Don't do this. Oya, think about our child. What about our child? You want him or her to grow up without a father? Ifaya let out a bitter laugh. Which child? The one you said was not yours? The one you wanted to kill? Michael, it's not your child, and it will never be your child. Michael was dragged away in handcuffs. He regretted everything that he had done. I should never have listened to my father, he muttered. Now I've lost everything. At the station, he was forced to confess everything. He did. He said everything, including the role of Dr. Chooks. The police arrested Chooks that same night. In the end, Ifaya was thankful. At least she had come out alive. Her baby had survived. She was able to recover most of the money Michael had stolen from her. And for the first time in a long while, she could finally breathe again. She had not given up on love. She still believed in happy marriages. Her parents were a living proof. But for now, she was going to focus on healing, focus on her baby, and on becoming whole again. Hey lovers, thank you for listening to this story. If you are new here, welcome to our community. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story as much as I enjoyed creating it. If you have not done so already, please hit the subscribe button. And to support the growth of our community, give this video a big thumbs up. If you know someone who would enjoy a story like this, do not hesitate to share. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Remember, like, share, drop a comment, and subscribe. I'll take my leave now, but I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.